was hoping to show a small 5-minute film, but because that's sort of dependent on Make Some Noises end, we might not be able to show it, but I will tell you all about it. So good morning, everybody. Hope you can hear me. I'm so lucky. I'm in Bicester, so I'm safe and secure in my own little room, and technically everything seems to be okay. So yes, my workshop, I came up with the title of Creating Musical Moments Out of the Everyday, and I think it very nicely taps into what Nicola has been talking about, which is really about how all of us have got some innate musicality in here. We all have, we know the children have, but as adults, of course, we have it too. I've been doing quite a bit of mentoring for Make Some Noise lately, all on Zoom, quite a weird situation, but it's been really, really interesting because I've had the enormous privilege, really, of getting to know 3 lovely practitioners from Stoke. And we've had quite a lot of meaningful chats about confidence, and that seems to be the big thing that's come out in my project, and also why I flagged it up on the chat. We've all got the skills, the ability to do wonderful music with our children. It's finding it in there, and there are so many barriers. Confidence is the big one. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but it's really a case of getting a few ideas, maybe increasing a repertoire, and sort of gradually relaxing with what you've got and not worrying too much about being this amazing musical person. And I can tell you right now, I'm not one of those musical people either. I started in my music career, if you like, with early years quite by accident, and I've just sort of developed over time. And I'm very much coming from a background of not being sure initially what I was going to do, having been dropped in the deep end with an early years project about 15 years ago. So yes, creating musical moments out of the everyday is about making the most of everyday situations. And of course, we're in myriad musical situations every day with our children. We're playing with them, we're doing routines with them, incidents happen, you know, knees get grazed, someone gets a bit knocked or hurt or something. And there are all sorts of ways that we can bring music into all of these little moments. And the other thing I want to talk about was making the most out of everyday objects. So it's not only things that happen, it's things we've got around us. And I straight away comes to mind things like toys we've got our play equipment, instruments, anything around you is something that you can have a go at making music out of. Again, this also touches on the difference between this lovely informal, spontaneous music making, which is very much where I'm coming from, to the more formal. And I'm quite lucky in that I work with tiny ones. So I've worked with babies, 2 to 3s and preschool. So very much I'm not in that more formal setting that you will have with your receptions. However, a lot of what I do can obviously spill over into reception age. And when I have worked occasionally with reception, I've been told, oh, you know, you should be doing that with year 1s. You should be doing that with year 2s. It's really, really adaptable. So what I wanted to do now was show you a lovely, lovely film made by the London Early Years Music Network with education consultant and teacher Marjorie Overy, which some of you might have seen. It was made probably in about 2013. I really, really urge you after today to go onto YouTube and find it. It's called What's That Noise? It's a lovely, gentle commentary, and it just shows a lot of different situations in a nursery where children are going about their everyday business. But our lovely practitioner is commenting on it as we go and pointing out to us, the viewer, what little nuggets are happening, what's going on there, why is she doing that, what's the practitioner doing. And there are 2 particularly good moments that I wanted to show you. One is little Ava, who is going through a tunnel. And as she comes out the other side, the practitioner, who is a male, which is lovely, is interacting with her musically. And then we have another little spot where we've got a little boy who's climbing up the climbing frame, climb, and he goes down the slide. And Marjorie herself is sort of commentating on him as he goes. Wonderful examples of the adult seeing the situation and bringing something to it. And while we're all so much for child-initiated play, child-initiated music, I think we have such an important role to play as facilitators in helping them discover or tap into their musicality. Because, you know, we've been on the planet a bit longer than them. We have far more knowledge, we have greater skills. So, you know, when your child is climbing up the steps, your young child might not think of going da, 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 but we do, or I do. I learn to mirror their actions by my voice. I don't always sing. I think that's another very important thing. There's so much to cram in here, so I'm not going to try not to go off tab a bit, but you don't always have to sing. It's about sound. It's about getting them to make a noise. It's not about speech necessarily right down in the early years. It's about getting those children confident in expressing themselves, whatever that sound might be. It could be a woo, it could be that beautiful little baby of a mere 16 weeks old. There were wonderful sounds that were coming out of that baby's mouth, and watching that interaction, it's absolutely beautiful. And this can carry on. This can carry on from that tiny age right through early years, on and on and on. So have a look at that film. I'd love you, when you watch it, to think about what those adults are doing. And the question I wanted to ask you all was, do you recognize yourself in the way those adults are bringing music into those everyday situations? I wanted you to have a little think about, how are you in your setting as a musical facilitator? Do you feel inhibited? Do you feel shy about doing something slightly different? Will your colleagues think, you know, what are you doing? Are you nervous about doing something that you've never done before? And I worked as a TA for a long time, and I felt nervous about doing new things, doing things when my colleagues were watching, thinking, oh, is it going to be wrong? You know, I'm only a TA. And I didn't have that confidence. So I completely understand practitioners who are a bit shy about singing or trying new things, especially if they might be regarded as kind of wacky, like, you know, what are you banging a baked bean tin for, or why are you doing this, if you're doing something seemingly a bit sort of unconventional. But I say, from my experience, don't be shy. Don't be shy. The most important thing is your children will never judge you. Your colleagues might think, you know, I have a question or two, but your children will never judge you. And we're there for the children. We're there to bring them on, to put it in a nutshell. So do have a think about what you do musically with your children. And we don't have enough time today to unpick it and talk to you all about it, but have a little think whether you know that you sing a lot, or whether you feel you don't, or do you envy that person? There's always one person in a setting who's the arty one. There's always the artistic one. We'll get Becca to do it, you know, she knows how to sing. There's always one. And I sometimes think that can be a barrier, having that member of staff who's good at singing, good at art. You know, we've all got this in us. And the lovely thing about early years is it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be complicated. And so I wanted to talk a little bit, moving on, about some of the, I don't know, objects that I would use. I've picked the most random amount of objects that I might use in a music session. And I've made them deliberately low tech. And I'm going to weave in some comments that some of my mentees have written, as they've been in their settings carrying out some of the things I've suggested. And it's been so interesting getting their reactions. For example, here we have it. I have a lovely drum, so I'm extremely lucky. Let me get it out. And I have some lovely instruments. So I have a proper drum, but of course not everyone has a proper drum. You don't need a proper drum. There was one setting I was mentoring where they had a lot of tubs, and they had their lids on. So I said, why don't you take the lids off? You don't need the lid on. The idea was that you tap it, take the lid off. You've suddenly got something very different to explore. So this is what Dawn wrote after she'd got her tubs out and taken the lids off. I took the lids off the sweetie tubs. This was new. It was really interesting. We looked at where the sound had gone. So when you put a drum or a tub on the floor and you tap it, you get a sound. Turn it upside down, the sound changes. It actually goes much, much quieter. So you say to the children, where has the sound gone? See if they can work it out, how to get it back again. Just a nice playful exercise. Where's the sound gone? Has it gone on holiday? Has it gone shopping? Where could it be? And some smart little bee might realise that the way to get it back again, how do we get it back again, is to turn it over. Simple little exercise. So here's Dawn, who's got 10 of these and has always just had them out on the carpet, tapping, singing some song, but absolutely fine. I was just trying to get her to think of ways of exploring it. And this is what she said. So it was new. It was really interesting to work out where the sound had gone. It was underneath. One child put the tub on their tummy and tapped it. Another one turned it into a guitar and he rolled his hand around inside like that. It turns into something I completely didn't expect. Then they wanted to put it on their hands. And then they were hats. We did up with a rocket, like that. And then we did pitter-patter to see what it sounded like. on our heads. And this is where I can let myself go a bit more. I'm regimented to classroom planning. I keep it to a T, but with music, it's okay to go with it. Now, that little comment at the end was really, really telling, because she would not have said, Dawn would not have said that 6 weeks earlier. It was. I like to think I gave her a sort of creative key to sort of unlock and relax with her children and with her music sessions. She then said, I'm learning to be okay to push the children and go with it. You don't have to stick to the plan, worrying about not fitting something in or needing to fit it in. I think it's more me wanting to do things that has given them enthusiasm. We've talked a lot about that, how if you're upbeat, you've got a new song, you're excited by the tub, it's infectious, the children pick up on it. So presentation, thinking about how you're singing your song, the sort of how you're trying to engage the children is really, really important. And when I say presentation, I'm not talking about putting on a big show. We're not all extroverts. We're not all charismatic. We're just ordinary people. Just about engaging them. We've got a tub. Shall we see what sound it can make? Shall we have a go? That's an example. So that was Dawn talking about the tub. I've got another one, which was lovely. We have a hello song. Well, we have several hello songs in Soundpots, and there's one I use that's slightly different from the one that Di was singing. She said, in the second group, I changed the hello song a little. I changed it to Hello Fabric. Glad to see you here. This is our hello song that goes, hello everyone, glad to see you here. Oh, she started her session with some lycra. We've done a little go on that. She automatically, and I was thrilled with this, hello fabric, glad to see you here. Oh, do excuse my voice being very, very croaky. But that's an example of adapting a song that she's been singing and she's got to know, and suddenly having the confidence to think, hey, what can I do with that? And what is so wonderful about that is that tune's familiar. So I think those children are going to go, I know that from somewhere. Where's that come from? Where's that come? Oh, and they're going to be able to join in automatically. But with these different words, this different approach, this different way of looking at that song, it's stimulating for them. It's engaging. So I think adapting lyrics, if you like, to other situations is such a brilliant thing to do. I can't really emphasize enough. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the tunes I always have up my sleeve to do that with. She then said, with the lycra, with the up and down song, which goes up and down, one little child moved his head. So we all sang, holding the fabric, moving our heads. This was wonderful. I have never moved my head when I've had the lycra in my session. So here was Dawn giving me ideas. Here we go. Up and down, side to side, side to side, and round and round, and round and round, and here we go again. She goes on to a second group on her Friday morning. She says, by the time I'm doing my second group, I can extend what I've done with the first group. I'm thinking, what can I do with this? This is another big thread in Soundpots, for me anyway. What can I do with this? What can I do with this? What could I do with this? Ask the children. We've got a little teddy. What could we do with him? So constantly trying to get them to think about creative things that they could do with these objects, but also you are too. And by you thinking about what you can do with these things, you're keeping your repertoire interesting, lively, you're keeping it fresh, and you're keeping yourself fresh. Because I talk a lot about going into nurseries where everyone's going, wheels on the bus go round there, you know, all the lethargy, round and round, round. It's what happens when you sing the same thing repeatedly day after day. If you change the words, do it in a different way. Let's do it lying down today. Let's all face the wall. Keep it interesting. So what I'm really trying to say is you can keep your musical atmosphere, if you like, your ethos in your setting going lively and really happening very, very simply. You don't need to have a massive repertoire. You don't need to be massively musical, but then, you know, as Nicola said, what is musical? What is musical? You can achieve a musical nursery or setting very easily. And of course, I can't talk about the whole, every situation, because we just haven't got time. But I think if you can apply that sort of mindset, if you like, to your setting, to your practice, you'll find that you can, you will be doing this automatically. So one other little thing before I go on. I had another mentee, Sarah, very lacking in confidence, very lacking in confidence. But there was a morning when she took the children to the dance studio. She said, I was with a group of children waiting for my colleague to come back with a storybook. So I didn't know what to do. So I sang a song, Who's in My Circle Today? Who's in my circle today? Now, quite funnily, and I'm quite pleased about this, I wasn't there. I don't have privy to what Sarah sang. I've no idea what the tune was. It might have been, who's in my circle today? Who's in my circle today? I don't know. But she said, one of the little girls asked where the song was from. But I said, I just made it up. I wouldn't have thought of singing that circle song, but it worked. So there were two lovely moments here, having the bravery to do this. And having that moment when she was on her own, as Sarah, there was no one around, she thought, I'll just have a go. That was important. And then I think the biggest accolade of all was this little girl asking where the song had come from. Because at Soundpots, we work very hard to prove, as I've been saying, that EYPs, we all have that innate creativity and musicality. It's just that we suppress it for all sorts of reasons. And I think confidence is the biggest reason. So what I'm trying to say to you today, without being too evangelical about it, is I think every single one of us today and every single one of your colleagues has the ability to be really musical and to create really rich musical experiences for your children. I really do. So those were my little comments from a couple of my mentees. I wanted to talk a little bit more about my everyday objects I've got here. So everyday objects can be anything. I've got some nail brushes. I'm going to go to very basic now. Some nail brushes. What have we got? What can we do with these? We can push and we can pull. We can push and we can pull. We can push and we can pull. We can do lots of brushing with them. I think that would probably be the first thing you think of with a brush. But I'm always trying to think a little outside the box. And I enjoyed introducing this. And then Penny taught me a lovely, lovely song about butterflies. And what do you know it? You've got a butterfly. Can you see my little butterfly? We've got a song in Soundpots which we sing to the tune of Rockabye Baby. Butterfly, butterfly, flying so high, down to the ground, up to the sky. Butterfly with your colours so bright, where will you rest your wings tonight? Colours so bright. Ooh, what colours have we got? Listen to the words. Where are you going to rest your wings? Ooh, where's my butterfly going to rest her wings tonight? Or is my butterfly actually a boy? Just get the conversation going. I always like to rest my butterfly on my hand or on my shoulder, just bringing in those body parts. And you can extend this once they've got it. I could actually do something rather weird. I could say, I'm going to put my butterfly way over there on the windowsill. Where's Liam going to put his butterfly? There was just so much going on. I could just go on forever about it. That's a lovely tune to do with scarves as well. So that's me once again thinking, I've got this tune, I've got this core tune. What can I do with it? What can I do with it? Oh, I can make a butterfly. I don't actually need props, you know, and while props are fantastic and they're tangible and they engage the children, and that's so important for those quieter children because they're taking part, just holding it, you know, just holding something, even if they're not vocalizing. So props are important. Yes, you don't have to have props. I still think it's important to let the children use their imaginations. So if we've got the lycra out or parachute, we might look underneath. We might pretend it's the sea, but what's underneath? Let's go under the sea. What can we find? Well, what can we find? Immediately, you've got a huge lot of discussion going on about what you can find. And weaving in songs, I feel I'm probably going off the musical thing a bit, but weaving in songs to that, you know, even with our parachute or a piece of lycra or a tea towel or anything, we've got our up and down, we've got our whishy sounds, we've got the sea, we've got the wind blowing, whoo, whoo, we've got the waves crashing, crash, crash, all sorts of things going on every time we open our mouths, whether we're humming or whispering, which is a very good tactic, or shouting. We're using these lovely voices we've got, and the children are using them too. One little thing, I do vary my voice a lot. I don't always talk in my normal voice. I think whispering things is a really, really good way of toning down your session, toning it down. Another everyday object, courtesy again of Penny, is our lids. Jam jar lids. Very, very, very good for all sorts of things. Not just tapping. They're great for stacking. You can build up la 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 la. Build up your tower. Great for a scrapey sound. Can you do it this way? Great for pushing around on the carpet, bumping into each other. Toot, 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 toot. Just think about those sounds you can get. What could they be? Hello. Could be ears. Could be a hat. All sorts of things like that. So again, thinking about an object, what can we do with it? Another one. We talk a lot about our wooden spoons, which are fabulous. But I was doing a family learning session the other day. They didn't have wooden spoons, but they had some teaspoons. And I thought, oh, I've never used metal spoons in my music sessions before. Of course you can. So think about that. If you've got a little repertoire that you might use spoons for, wooden spoons, how about one day completely turning it on its head, but you're not really, it's just that children think you are, by using metal ones. So you do the same songs, but you've got a different thing going on. You can see yourself in them. They're reflective, they're shiny. Again, there's a good opportunity to do another load of different songs with the same songs with a different prop. Tambourines, here we are. Lots you can do with a tambourine. You can look through it, you can put it on your head. You can be a steering wheel. So again, put it on your head. We do our wheels on the bus. You could be driving somewhere. We can talk about all the circles. Round and round we go, round and round we go, round and round and round and round and round and round we go. Cat is singing along, well, cat is tapping along, round and round and round and round, cat is tapping along. Lucy, I have no idea how long I've been chatting for because I came at a funny moment.
Wonderful. And I'm going to just thank you so much for jumping in at that. Can you do some more? Well, maybe. What we're going to do just very quickly is